Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Zoa Conner. She is a functional wellness guide. She delights clients in helping them feel better, not older, through personalized lifestyle guidance and education. And her goal is to help her clients feel energized, joyful, calm, focused, and capable of doing anything that they desire in life. Welcome to the show, Zoa.
Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show, Zoa. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll learn from you about practical self-care or long-term vitality. That's a lot of things that you do. But before that, let's understand a bit about your journey, your background, so that people know who they are listening to.
So when I was a young girl, I was a ballet dancer. And then when I went to university, to college, I became a physicist and I have a PhD in physics. So then now today, I blend together the scientific thinking that I learned and the generation of new ideas and the creation of new ways of looking at the world with my love of movement and the body and self-care and education. I've been a university professor. I teach yoga, Pilates, all sorts of movement modalities. I work with nutrition, hormones, detox, and mostly anything that you can do for yourself on a daily basis that will help you feel better, not older.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to understand, talking about your physics background, how does that influence your wellness approach? You mentioned it, but I want to understand it better for the audience. Every day you don't get somebody who has a PhD in physics talking about wellness.
Indeed. So, the approach that I take to wellness is very scientifically oriented, but not in the way you might think. I'm not looking for using rigorous scientific studies to back up what I help people put into action. We're doing experiments on ourselves. So one word for it might be biohacking, but I prefer just figuring out what works for your unique biology. And that is an experiment because it takes lots of investigation to figure out what works, and it's constantly changing because we are constantly moving through life, having different needs, experiencing different things with our body. And so we have to keep looking and questioning. And it's that questioning aspect that I feel like is really important. And then the understanding that what might works now might not work in a year, might not have worked a decade ago, and they're constantly learning. And that's actually how science works, right? Scientific facts that you might learn in school is really just a collection of things that scientists agree to be true right now. And as soon as we add one new piece of information to that mix, then our ideas about how the world works changes. And so all I'm doing is applying that experimental idea about creation of what we think is real and true to ourselves and our wellness lifestyle.
Absolutely. And now let's come to self-care. What is this self-care all about? Means the biggest self-care is don't venture out, you will be fully fine, no accidents, nothing in life. I want to understand what you mean by self-care here in terms of wellness.
Well, so wellness and health are often intermingled in people's minds, but uh, wellness is really about what you do on a daily basis to support your health and happiness and well-being. So wellness is your choices of food and how and when you sleep and how and when you move your body and what you have in the air inside of your house. It's less about avoiding problems and avoiding disease and much more about being proactive at how to help yourself. So for example, for me right now, for our conversation, it's 7 a.m. I had to be up and dressed and in a good mood and thinking clearly. So I went to bed earlier than I would normally do in order to prepare for that. I didn't just drag myself out of bed and hope that it would all work out, right? And that means that I had to move my dinner time a little earlier last night so that I would sleep well, right? And so your wellness is all about what you do every single day. And sometimes those choices need to vary from day to day. Sometimes you find a nice, consistent set of choices that you can go with for a week, a month, a year. And then when things start to go awry and you start to feel like you're not sleeping as well, or you're not as energized, or you're in a bad mood more often, then it's time to reassess what's going on and what can you make a change to so that you can continue to feel energetic, happy, capable, intelligent, and do anything that you want to in life, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, Joe. But how do I, use self-care as preventive medicine? And that goes beyond wellness and into the healthcare domain, and so that I do not need to go to a doctor in that, difficult sort of a situation. Maybe one thing or the other, but not the for the bigger
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely. So the funny thing is that disease takes a long time to be created in the body. When you develop a disease state, it's rarely an instantaneous thing. I mean, yes, you might eat some bad food. That is an acute situation where your body is like, no, no, this food is not good. It needs to leave right away. But most of the diseases that we're dealing with these days are chronic illnesses. They are diseases of lifestyle. And most of the things that are killing people that are not accident related worldwide are lifestyle related, you know? So the food that you eat, whether or not you sit in front of a computer all day or whether or not you move your body, how you prioritize sleep or whether you try to, go with the philosophy that you can sleep when you're dead, right? So all of these things help your body get the nutrients that it needs in order to stay healthy, helps you detoxify your cells and your organs so that they can keep functioning well, keep your lymphatic system and your blood flow systems fully operational, and give you all the things that you need resource wise and time wise and nervous system wise in order to get rid of the problems and keep you feeling optimal inside.
Absolutely. So in terms of a layman, how should he or she uh, look at an effective self-care routine? How should I begin my day? How should I end my day? Because no, everyone is in a different situation, different job, different type of stress level. But there are some things that all can do. What would you suggest to a common person to have as much preventive care for themselves in terms of self-care?
Absolutely. And this is a tricky question because we are also different. We have different needs, different schedules, different priorities. But I tend to use the 7 basic ideas behind functional wellness to help guide people's choices and make shifts. So those principles are breathing, diet, movement, elimination, so getting rid of the food that you take in, nervous system regulation, let's see, breathing, hydration, diet, movement, digestion and assimilation, nervous system regulation, and elimination, which includes detoxification. So we just try to make sure that all 7 of those are being covered in the proportions that seems to be necessary to each person. And while one person may go, I'm well hydrated, I drink water all day long, they may also pee all day long because they're missing out on their minerals and electrolytes. So they're not actually hydrating themselves, but they think they are, right? And with diet, you could have the best diet on paper. It could have all the healthy foods that you know, but you're not digesting it very well. So you're not getting those nutrients in. So it's not a diet problem, it's a digestion problem, right? But you may have no complaints, doesn't feel uncomfortable, it's just not working very well. So we need to assess each of these 7 areas on their own, but they're connected, right? If you're in a stressed state from your emotions, your relationships, your job, you're not going to digest well. You're not going to sleep well, right? So these are all intertwined. So it's a matter of looking at what you need. Do you need to wake up early, do a little meditation, get a little bit of movement, maybe some yoga, maybe a walk, in order to help set yourself up for a good day? Or do you need to set aside those times before bed to help calm you down and slow your brain down to facilitate sleep, right? I fall asleep really easily. I don't need to work on setting aside 2 or 3 hours to calm my nervous system, right? But other people might need that time, right? And if you have a hard time getting yourself going in the morning, how's that circadian clock doing? Did you get your deep sleep and your REM sleep? Or do we need to work on taking your last meal and moving it farther from bedtime so that your digestive process isn't disturbing your sleep, and then you can wake up with energy and joy, right? So we look at all the bits and pieces to figure out what is the pattern that's working and what are the patterns that are not working for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Joa. So if I follow this and everything seems to be right, how do I know that something is not right? I may be taken by surprise with some chronic situation. Is there a way to assess daily how my preventive care is working? Because not every time I will get a signal from my body. Or is there a way I may be ignoring it? The body is indeed giving some signals.
Oh, absolutely. The body gives all sorts of signals, but we tend to ignore them because we either don't understand what the signal means, or it's not as a priority because we have children in front of us, elders in front of us, jobs in front of us. We have things we want to do in life, which tend to not involve slowing down and paying attention to ourselves. So this is where testing can come into play to help you understand whether or not you're actually doing a good job or whether you are ignoring symptoms that you don't realize are leading towards a disease state. So, for many of my clients, we will frequently do a hair mineral analysis where we take a small snippet of freshly grown hair from the scalp, send it off to the lab, and we come back with the results for which minerals are present in the hair. We combine this with a 3-day food log to see what food is going into your body and a long list of questions about symptoms, feelings, digestive state, and put that together with a picture of, okay, so you think you're doing well, but does the inside of your body agree, right? And do we need to make some changes to either diet or digestion or something else in order to make the inside of your body as happy as you think it is? We can also do some great blood analysis. And for this functional blood chemistry analysis, we take the test results that they might have gotten from their doctors. Probably we're going to supplement that with some things, some markers that are more wellness oriented. And when you get blood test, of course, it's a snapshot in time. The hair analysis is kind of an average over the last 2 to 3 months. So they tell different stories, right? But when you look at the blood, oftentimes you get your results back and your doctor says, you're fine. But are you really, right? So what I often explain to my clients is that, when you take blood analysis and you get the information from the lab, there's this wide range of acceptable numbers. This is the range which is considered normal to a typical doctor. But that includes all the people who don't feel good. and all the people who have some kind of disease state or headed in that direction. What we really want to know is, this is the optimal range. How are we compared to that? Are we within it? Are we over here in the range of not bad, but not healthy either? And then what do we have to do to create a shift back into that optimal range? Because your blood data tends to be so intensely regulated by your body that if you have small changes to your blood, those are actually big changes in the body, but they might or might not be something that you can tell from your everyday feelings.
Absolutely. Well explained, that, Zoa. Now, in terms of, you talk about detoxing ourselves daily. Now, how do we do that? Should we eat or not eat and just focus on detoxification? Tell us a bit about this daily detoxification that you talk about.
So, detoxification is a multi step process in the body. The very last step is the one that many people actually have hard time with. So it's the one we begin with. You've got 4 ways of getting toxins out of the body. You can breathe them out. You can sweat them out. They come out through your urine and they come out through your feces. So if you are not doing those things well on a daily basis, then the toxins are hanging out in the body longer than they need to be. Once you've got those 4 pathways open and you've got a daily bowel movement and you've got good consistent peeing, you can sweat, and you have great breathing abilities, then we go backwards to the organs that are putting those toxins to go out of the body, your liver, your kidneys, and we support the function of those organs. Then we go backwards again. The delivery system of the toxins to those organs is your lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is driven by daily movement. If you're sedentary, sitting in front of the couch, sitting in front of the computer for hours a day, you're not getting enough movement, right? And then we go back to the cellular level. The cells have to be able to get the toxins from inside the cells to outside the cells. So then we can talk about the flow of nutrients in and toxins out of the cell membrane, the health of your cell membrane, whether it's too rigid, too soft and squishy, whether it's compromised in some way. But one rule of thumb is that if you take some sort of action to support detoxification and you feel worse because you do it, you've gone in the wrong order. You've, instead of going gradually down the steps to get to detoxification, somehow there's one step that's the wrong way. You had to go uphill and it was too hard and you got stuck. So a lot of people will start with upstream, shall we say, closer to the cells. They'll pop some glutathione or something of that nature, right? And then they feel worse. Or my favorite for that I hear frequently is, I really wanted to make a change to my diet. I went cold turkey, stopped all the junk food, ate really clean, healthy food. And on day 3, I felt like I was gonna die. Right? I felt really bad. So clearly the problem was that they needed to go back to their previous diet. But really all that happened was now they had the right nutrition and resources to actually start to detoxify the body, but it wasn't leaving the body very well. So it was getting caught up in the bloodstream and making everything feel bad. So detoxification can be complicated, but if you focus on the getting things out and then moving them through the body and then supporting the cells, you'll probably have an easier time with it.
Absolutely. To understand this better, what is it that your clients generally come to you for, Zoa?
They usually come because they don't feel like they used to. Things are hurting, they're tired, they're feeling brain foggy, they're starting to lose memory. they're in bad moods all the time. They just don't have the pep and the energy for life that they used to. And oftentimes it's more than one, which is actually the problem, right? Because if it was just pain for the shoulder, you might go to an osteopath or a chiropractor. If it was just digestive system, you might go to, a GI doctor. The problem is that these things are all intertwined, right? The pain from the shoulder changes your nervous system, puts you in a stress state, and that lowers your digestive system. But the chiropractor isn't going to work on your digestion specifically, right? And the GI doctor isn't going to help with your shoulder. So you need that whole body, holistic approach because of how everything is intertwined. And so each person comes in with usually multiple problems. And the one thing that they always want to address first is usually the thing that takes the longest. So we look for the tools that we can make use of that would give them positive progress and some changes that they can feel as quickly as possible, even if it's not the main thing that drove them to see me, right? Getting them to see that these steps that are lifestyle oriented, taking a daily walk, adding in minerals to their water, right? Turning off the bright lights before they go to bed for the hour before they go to bed. These things do make a change, right? And then they're willing to make some bigger steps because they can see that it's working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much to learn about all these things from you, Zoa, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you, learn more about how you do things, what you do, how they can get back, how they used to feel better earlier on, how they can get back to the same state of mind as well as body. So, what is the best way for people to connect with you, Zoa?
Well, my website is where everything happens. I'm not on social media a whole bunch, so I tend to rely on putting all my resources onto the website, which is zenandvitality.com. And I did create a weekly wellness checklist, which can be downloaded, and we'll put the link in the show notes. But it's just zenandvitality.com/checklist.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.